same report said that 30% of Black businesses closed between 2007 and 2012, a 5-year span. So, you know, why? The controller points to inflation, increase in rents, economic distress. You know, I would add over-policing and the war on drugs to that list. You know, and the Federal Reserve in 2013, they said, oh, the lack of home ownership and other assets is the primary reason for the wealth gap between Black and white families. But it was the federal government that instituted redlining to begin with. So strong restorative justice provisions are a must to reverse the downward trend of our economics. So this brings us to the legislation. And I think we need to be clear that marijuana legislation should be crafted with one single goal: to repair the damage marijuana prohibition and biased policing has inflicted on those most harmed, the majority of which are Black individuals, families, and communities. The objective should prioritize business development, workforce development, community development, and criminal justice reform. So there are two bills out there being considered. One is MRTA, and that was first introduced by Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Stokes from Buffalo and Senator Liz Krueger from New York City in 2013, and they've actually reintroduced it every year since. Then there's CERTA, Governor Cuomo's proposed legislation. It failed to pass last year in 2019 because of a lack of support, in large part because of inadequate restorative justice provisions, like tax revenue going to, you know, the most harmed communities, and no limit vertical integration for the current medical marijuana companies. You know, there are 10 medical marijuana in New York City. Not one of them is Black, and they all do vertical integration, which is sometimes called seed to sale. You know, they get to plant it, they cultivate it, they harvest it, they distribute it, and they sell it. And that kind of operation is very, very profitable. And they also, you know, own the market. I mean, if they're growing the weed and you're a dispensary, then who are you buying it from? Can you afford to grow and dispense? It's a very expensive proposition. So the MRTA tries to limit how large and how many licenses and the types of licenses that any company can have. And in that way, they're hoping to broaden the number of companies that can enter the market. So neither bill is perfect, but MRTA, with the following provisions, I'm petting my dog. He wants to jump on my lap. Neither bill is perfect, but MRTA with the following provisions will make New York State a leader in legalization. So there are specific portions of MRTA that perpetrate the existing underrepresentation of Black New Yorkers in programs like MWBE. That, as we know, they were conceived because of the struggle for civil and economic rights, but they were diluted to include groups not involved in the struggle. So we think that legislation needs to be changed to meet the goal of economic restorative justice. And they should take every opportunity to develop that legislation that provides a business advantage for the most harmed. So we already talked about the definition of the most harmed. Just to touch on the communities portioned of most harmed, we need to define those boundaries very granularly. And I'll give you an example. Tony and I live in the 10027 area zip code, but that zip code also covers Columbia University. And Columbia University and their, huge campus did not experience the same amount and level of over-policing and arrests, convictions, and incarcerations for marijuana or any other drugs for that matter. We would like to be, we want to be, we should be first and only. So that means the only adult use licenses for should be for restorative justice participants for at least 3 years. Cambridge, Massachusetts tried to do that. They were, of course, sued by a medical marijuana company, and they lost. And I hear they're going to try to appeal, or appealing actually. So, there's always a lawsuit to a program that actually does some good for the most harmed. So if there can't be a first and only, then there shouldn't be any until Black businesses are up, running, funded, formed, trained, and ready to get to work, which is probably going to be about 2 years. We need day one funding and launch. MRTA calls for creating a board to create a plan after obtaining public input. And that's going to take a minute. And that's after legalization. So that still means that any company that can actually afford to start has the infrastructure to start, which most of them are from out of state, existing companies, then they can just get going. And, restorative justice applicants, they'll still be 2-3 years behind. We need marijuana legalization to be the industry that helps us, makes us, allows us, enables us, gives us the opportunity to generate wealth. Vertical integration. So I described what vertical integration is, to sale, not good for ROs, the registered organizations, the medical marijuana companies, or any big company. Good for restorative companies. We advocate vertical integration. We also advocate exclusivity, meaning that restorative justice businesses are the only ones that can distribute in their communities that were most harmed. And then we don't think that there should be an income restriction on being a restorative justice applicant. And this is really interesting, because the way the law is written, if I'm not mistaken, it says that in order to take advantage and be a equity applicant, restorative justice applicant is what we're calling you, you have to earn less than 80% of the median income in the county in which you reside. Now, the median income for New York City is about $60,000, and 80% of that would be $48,000. So if you have to make less than $48,000 to qualify to be a restorative justice applicant, how are you going to start a business and, I don't know, have a family? You've been saving for like the last 20 years and you have a good nest egg? I mean, it's not to say you can't start a business with that small amount of income, but why would you even want to limit the pool like that? But in any event, if that income restriction did not exist, you'll just have an increased pool of day one licenses with business skills and financial resources necessary to build competitive businesses that also integrate with the legacy market and incubates other restorative justice licensees. We definitely need business development. HBA years ago developed this program called Back Office Support Initiative. We called it BOSSI. And the idea behind it was that there's actually no reason why, people who want to go into business should already have all of the skills required to run a, a plumber knows how to be a plumber. He knows how to read plans, but does he really know, how to do his taxes? Let's just go,
Yeah.
No,
Hi.
he needs an accountant and he needs an attorney.
Maria, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of people in the chat room probably trying to get some messages out to you, but
really,
yeah. But we want you to get some more information out there. So that's what we're trying to get your attention.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no. Just keep going. Just to let you know, some
Wrap
people
it up.
people want to get to you in the chat room and ask you some questions. We want to get to the conclusion. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm not too far away. These are just the changes. We're talking about business development, and we're also talking about legacy operators, or the black market. Our guys have jobs. They already have jobs. The black market, especially in New York City, is the most sophisticated in the country. So we want to make sure that the individuals who are currently employed in the marijuana business get to continue. So as far as next, my conclusion actually is we're encouraging everyone to join the movement to demand restorative justice for the Black most harmed community. That's it.
All right, thank you, Maria. Thank you for that presentation. Okay, let's keep things moving along. One of the great persons that we have here today, and she's been a great help, a great person who has spoke for us before. And I am just so happy. I'm tickled to death to have her here. She's actually, she's a 50 and over, although she doesn't look over 50, USA snowboarding champion. Her name is Melissa Gibson. And she found relief from her multiple autoimmune conditions when she was introduced to a hemp-derived compound called CBD. Leveraging her degree in agriculture and economics from Cornell University and an MBA in brand management, Melissa founded Hemp and Humanity. And it teaches and it offers the power of hemp to improve the human condition. Her company offers a consciously curated collection of the best hemp-based products out there available. So let's bring her on. Melissa, happy 420. How are things going?
Happy 420, Richard. How are you?
Excellent. Glad you can be a part of this presentation today.
I am
Take
too.
it away.
Can you tell that I'm in a field of hemp? Is that